Welcome to Mr. Foreman's workshop, public storage area and discotheque. We have here a beatbox. This pumps out all the greatest hits, mainly from an artist called Kylie Minogue. Sounds French to me. But as you can see, that is an iPod, and they're getting very rare nowadays. It's a sign of this fast-paced modern world we live in, that this is already an antique. But speaking of antiques, I've got something to show you. This is a 1957 Series 1 Land Rover that we acquired without cost. A family friend of the Wilmses, a British chap, was moving to Maine from California, couldn't really take this with him, and passed it on to us. So the task has befallen Wilms and myself to bring this back to life. So although most parts on this vehicle are original, the motor, however, is not. It's a V8. It's a Rover 3500 manufactured between the late 70s and through to the 80s with a couple of SU carbs on top. It makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about, doesn't it? The vehicle has sat for 3 years, and in that time some catastrophic damage has occurred to some components, and we're going to investigate those things right now. So what suffered the most was the cooling system, and the thermostat. I have cleaned this out a little, but that was completely full of gunk and whatever that corrosive sort of substance is. And then of course the water pump. Have a close look at that. That's all eaten away. The inner bearing is not good. So this had to be trashed. Now here in the States, a water pump like this, I was quoted at $500 US to replace. And initially I thought to myself that this restoration of this engine was going to be cost prohibitive and maybe I should find another one. And an esteemed colleague by the name of Mr. Griffiths said that whoever has put this engine in has gone to great lengths to make sure it fits. It obviously once worked, and he reckons rebuilding them are relatively easy. We'll see. And costs for parts in the UK is not so bad. And so I followed his advice, and this water pump was $90 in the UK with about $20 shipping. So for about $110, $115 or so, that's a lot better than $500. So my plan is to go ahead with attempting to rebuild an engine, which is something I haven't done. And I'm figuring that, well, what's the worst that can happen? I could probably blow it up, be down a few dollars. And that's pretty bad. So the history of the vehicle's a little bit of a mystery to us. The previous owner said that he broke down, he thought it was the gearbox. He was towed, and there the vehicle sat for the 3 years until we acquired it. Once we got it, we cleaned out the carburetors, though not well enough. But we could get the vehicle to idle and in very low range limp forward. Trouble is, there was no oil pressure, and that's a bad thing, I believe. So we brought it into our little workshop and shut it down and started to troubleshoot, trying to find out what might be wrong. See if hoses were blocked or whatever the case may be, and everything seemed to be okay. We took the pump apart and all the splines and little gears seemed to be okay-ish as well. So I was thinking maybe the shaft that runs into the bottom of the distributor which drives it could have been sheared off. So we took that apart and that was all fine as well. The Haynes manual, which I wish I would have read before I started all this, indicates that you should prime the pump by shoving Vaseline or petroleum jelly into the gears. So my thoughts are that over the 3 years the vehicle sat, then the oil's drained out, it hasn't primed, and that's probably the only problem. So in addition to the vehicle, we got a whole pile of spare parts and extras thrown in as well. So, for instance, a new master cylinder for the brakes, which is good because the other one's cactus. We have a complete brake pipe set, which that's only part of. And we have a clutch. Well, I could have sworn that in amongst the boxes of stuff there was an actual clutch plate as well, but for the life of me I don't know where that is, so I don't know. I either have to find it or buy a new one. We also have some of these which get welded onto the chassis. So this guy here lives just down here under the fuel tank there, holds up the fuel tank. And so the old one needs to be cut off and this one welded on, which is which is out of my skill level, but there's a workshop up the road that may be able to help. And we got probably wheel bearings, other bearings that are quite heavy and big, and God only knows where they go. Some mystery boxes, other ones. There is also the complete kit for the swivel housing for the front wheels on the four-wheel drive section. And we have a whole pile of sprockety things, bushes and washers and bolts, rubber stuff, and other bolts and in these boxes. Piles of the stuff. I don't know what it all does, but we'll just have to work it out. These are the exhaust manifolds. They the studs are a little troublesome. I had to drill one of them out, so hopefully that one still is okay. And this one still has the studs jammed in there, but I don't think they're going to be too much of a bother. And there didn't seem to be any gaskets whatsoever between them and the motor. I'm sure that's not right. And in addition to that and much more, we have cricket stick and a whole pile of hoses and rubber trim and stuff like that that goes here and there about the vehicle. But even better, a huge gem is this. Oh, a library of information that is going to help me with learning about both the motor and the vehicle. And there's no excuse for a fuck up. Books on Land Rovers. We have hints on Land Rover restoration and techniques. We have a parts catalogue for a Series 1 Land Rover. And we have the workshop manual for a Series 1 Land Rover. Then there's other stuff on vehicles that are somewhat related and may assist. Series 1, 2 and 3 restoration guides. And there we have the Haynes manual for the motor that's in it now, the 3500 Rover. Plus a lot of extra stuff. So that's going to be me doing some serious reading so that enhance my chances of getting this running. Now it did, you can see it's a bit sparse. Doors are missing, hood's missing, but don't worry, that'll come with the vehicle, and that's unceremoniously dumped over here on the side wall. All right, so all the extra paraphernalia like the doors and the other panels and the hood, they're all sort of stashed in amongst this area here. And we got an alternator and the exhaust system I had to cut up into pieces. It was pretty much all just one unit from woe to go, so I just had to hacksaw it up, and it was all full of holes anyway. So I'll have to get another one custom built on there. This is a heater unit. Very posh machine, eh? 1957, thinking of your comfort. And there's also a couple of spare carburetors. So if I have trouble getting the other ones to work, putting in new jets and needles and gaskets and stuff, and well, I could try these ones, I suppose. Hello, Cricket. What are you doing? And then, of course, we've got the radiator, which, considering how the cooling system was, I don't hold high hopes for the radiator, but if it's possible to get it tested and see if it works, then I will, and if not, and it's cactus, I'll buy another one. Well, hopefully, Series 1 Land Rover. So, you know, considering the age of this wagon, 1957, and excluding the fact that it doesn't run, I think overall, as far as a restoration project goes, this is actually looking quite promising. It doesn't look like there's a lot of rust, and all in all, I think the vehicle's in pretty good nick. So there's going to be a few seals replaced and bearings, of course, and a good scrub up to the chassis and maybe some paint and a few little bits and pieces here and there. And my biggest worry is going to be the engine and the gearbox. And other than that, I think I might be almost capable of pulling this off. So that brings us to the final points about what we want to do with this vehicle. What are our goals? Do we want to restore it and stay pure to the origins of the truck, or do we just want to be able to get it up and running to be a ranch vehicle? Or be able to get it relicensed for the road? That would be my objective. Not to be able to drive on these big freeways. This vehicle was not designed to travel at 65 miles an hour, but to transport it somewhere to use as a base and explore those surrounding areas. That would be awesome. Anyway, as our restoration proceeds, we hope to keep you updated. And for Land Rover enthusiasts, which is most likely you, because you've gotten this far into the video, make sure to check out our 10-part Western Walkabout series and a Land Rover Defender on the west coast of Australia, and also a little bit into the interior as well. Canning Stock Route as well, which happens through Western Australia in the same Defender, and the Mojave Road of Southern California, which is a very picturesque desert, and that's in a Discovery 2. And they are really awesome trucks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, before we go, any workshop worth a pinch of salt is going to have a calendar. Make sure Wilms isn't around, I'm going to show you mine. Tractors. This is awesome. We've got a green one. There's a red one with 3 wheels. Oh no, it's got 4. And a big green one. Curvy, colourful tractors. Every workshop needs a calendar.